Hi there folks, it's Deni. Well, it hasn't been that long since I released a gaming news video, but I know that that list wasn't enough for you, and you want something else like this. So I thought today would be a good time to tell you about other new stuff that's even newer, so to speak. As usual, today I'll show you not only the hyped and well-known releases, but also some quality wildcards that you might have missed. But before we begin, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Okay, let's get started. Well, let's get started with Wulong Fallen Dynasty. It's a fantasy action-adventure game with a very intense and dramatic story. This game will take you to the alternative reality of Han Dynasty, and you will be the witness of China being attacked by demons. And only a group of brave warriors is able to stop the massive monster and enemy army's invasion. Here you will have exciting adventures full of spectacular battles and a decent story. As for the combat system, here you will be able to change offensive and defensive styles right during the battles, and also strengthen your strikes and perform some awesome combos. Well, the moves and tricks you will be able to unlock here depend on your equipment, so you'll have to dedicate enough time to loot here. Next up we have Lumencraft. It's such a peculiar and atmospheric top-down action game that will send you to the alternative future of 2221, when the Earth became uninhabitable. However, it's not that bad. Humans have discovered a new mineral called lumen, which has become indispensable for survival due to its energy reserves. But it is not so easy to extract these crystals. Its deposits are diamond deep and teeming with creepy monsters attacking everything in their path. You'll be a mercenary here, and you'll have to go into the depths of the mines, deal with monsters while setting up the extraction of those very crystals at the same time. Well, be prepared for lots of fighting, drilling, digging tunnels, exploring the underground world, and basically surviving in conditions that are not meant for human life. Well, let's take a look at some cool graphics games, and let's start with Scarce Bow. It is a sci-fi third-person action game with shooter elements and a pretty solid storyline, I would say. What's it about? Well, let me tell you. Some mysterious alien obelisk has landed on Earth, so naturally it caught the attention of scientists. And guess what? Well, of course, as soon as a research team got close to it, they immediately found themselves far outside the solar system on an unknown planet. Well, we'll be controlling Kate Ward, who'll have to clean up the mess, find her surviving colleagues, fight all the local monsters, and find a way to get home. What's special about this game is the difficulty of the battles and puzzles, so get ready, this game is a real challenge. Next we have a kind of mix of tactical role-playing and turn-based strategy game Phantom Brigade. The game takes place in an alternate future where humanity has been attacked by some evil that has wiped out almost all combat units. Well, as often happens, there is only one fighter left alive and you will be controlling him. You will have to crush the enemy in the toughest missions, but to do so you will need to upgrade yourself and learn how to think tactically, and trust me, your tactics and strategic planning is very important here, cause there will be much more opponents than sabotage without any open fight. Sometimes that's the best option. I've got something for pixel game fans too. This is Octopath Traveler 2. It's not exactly a pixel game, but it's definitely something like that. Generally, it's a Japanese RPG. The events unfold on the eastern and western Solistia, where there was a technological breakthrough and the steam energy made it possible to put huge ships into the sea, but also caused some troubles in the world. You will be introduced to a group of brave adventurers living in 8 different regions. With them, you will travel through the seas on huge ships, get acquainted with unusual characters, complete tasks and fight all kinds of monsters. Well, you are sure to find something to do here. Now it's time to check out some space games. Let's start with Kerbal Space Program 2. It's a sequel to the legendary first game where you had to build spaceships, test them and launch them into space. Well, something like Elon Musk's simulator. As for the second game, here you will have to go to outer space, create different space vehicles, learn how to build stations for resource extraction and much more. Besides, the developers took into account the players' wishes and added a so good improvement for the second game, namely online mode. So now you can explore the space with the other players. And let's be honest, it's always much more fun to play these games with someone else than alone. Many of you have probably already heard of Atomic Heart and those robots twins, but I hope you haven't gotten tired of it yet, because that's exactly what we're about to check out. And if anyone still hasn't heard of this game, I'll tell you what it is about. It's a dynamic shooter. We'll be controlling Major Nechayev, a resident of an alternate Soviet Union. Here, the Soviet Union has not collapsed, instead it lives and thrives, and even makes advances in robotics and replaces proletarians with machines. Some of them came out even a little too human-like, so to speak. However, there was a malfunction in one of the factories, and the robots began to attack people. That's what you have to deal with. Here we'll shoot the robots, find the person responsible for this mess, study the surroundings, and much more. By the way, have you already tried this game? Let me know in the comments below. Well, now it's horror time, and today I got file Destined for you. It's a kind of a mix of indie quest and atmospheric first-person perspective horror. Our character arrives in an abandoned building, and there he encounters some paranormal phenomena. As for gameplay, he will be busy exploring the territory and solving puzzles. What makes this one different from other horror games is that it's not just a green point and click walking simulator. He'll have to look into literally every crevice to solve puzzles, take sheets out of folders of papers, rotate found objects, look for clue notes or passwords while running away from ghosts and otherworldly creatures. So, besides being a pretty scary game, it's also very interesting. What about card games? Let's take a look at Ace and Adventures. It's quite an entertaining mix of an adventure game with an interesting story and a card strategy game where you have to create strong decks and use them to fight your way through hordes of enemies. Battles here are quite fast and dynamic, with each session taking 10 to 20 minutes. The cards here have different buffs and abilities, and at the beginning of the game you can choose one of 5 unique characters. Your choice determines the tactics and style of combat. As you defeat your enemies, you'll get some experience, and you can spend it on improving your cards. The story campaign includes 13 well-designed quests and about 50 levels of difficulty with individual settings for each one. Sounds interesting, doesn't it? Next up, we have a strategy RPG with turn-based combat in the dark medieval fantasy setting Redemption Reapers. This new game is quite good, so it's worthy of a place on today's list. According to the story, humanity has been brought to the brink of extinction by the invasion of the Mortis. Their armies are destroying nation after nation, and only a group of mercenaries, the Archhawks, can resist them. The squad consists of 5 people, each with their own unique abilities and special weapons. Resources and HP recovery items are limited here, so, well, you'll need to think carefully about each action, trying to defeat the enemies using the fewest number of moves possible. Besides the main quests, there are a bunch of side quests here that will make your walkthrough more varied. All in all, this game is definitely worth your while. Next we have a kind of mix of strategy and base building sim The Last Haven. Just imagine, there was a nuclear war in the world that made most of the planet literally uninhabitable. Well, what will you have to do here? You will have to create a society, build a settlement, and keep a close eye on your people. You will have to mine resources and provide your people with food, clothing, and warm shelter so that they can survive the aftermath of a nuclear war. And yeah, the climate conditions will worsen and the world will become more and more dangerous. And also raiders. Every now and then you will be attacked by all sorts of raiders, bandits and marauders. In short, you obviously won't find this game simple, but it makes it even more interesting, doesn't it? Today we have already talking about space, Middle Ages and even far future, but what about the sea? Finally, I want to show you the Pale Beyond. You have to become a leader, but not of a base, not of a bunker, not of a kingdom, just of a schooner. But even here you will find something to do. After the ship Viscount is stuck in the ice and the captain has mysteriously disappeared from the ship, the fate of all the passengers on board is in your hands. You will have to shoulder the burden of being the captain, and there are quite a lot of them. I would say distributing the constantly lacking resources, making fateful decisions, and much more. What's special about this game is a lot of unpredictable situations, difficult challenges that require you to be active, act strategically, and make as few mistakes as possible. There are a lot of story branches in the game, which are unlocked depending on the decisions made and the relationship with the team. Yeah, being the captain of the ship is not easy, but I'm sure you can handle it. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and found something interesting, and if so, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It's been Deni, see ya guys soon.